Today we're going to be fixing the rear axle click problem on the Nissan 370Z. You'll hear it in this clip here. So you just need a few tools and we'll jump into that now. Alright, so in order to fix this issue you're going to need some chocks for your front wheels. You're going to need an impact wrench, but you might be able to do this with a breaker bar, but I prefer doing it with an impact. You're going to need some pliers. That's going to be for putting in your new cotter pin. Then you're going to need a 21mm to remove your wheel nuts. That's for my impact wrench. You're also going to need a 32mm socket, and that's going to be for your new bolts and removing your old bolts. You're going to need a torque wrench in order to torque those bolts down to spec. You're going to need a breaker bar, some new washers, some new cotter pins, some copper grease, and the paintbrushes on the end are optional, just anything to be able to get the grease onto the splines. So in order to get the car off the ground, we're going to use this jack, and I'm going to place this under the diff, and then we're going to put some axle stands on either side. So the reason why this clicking happens on the 370 is because you see this cap here. What happens is this doesn't secure very well. So when this is through here, the clicking noise is actually this cap going like this. And I didn't think it would be that bad, but you can see where the pins should all be like these top ones. They should all be round and flat. When I get this off, we'll be able to see it a bit better. But they should all be flat, whereas this one's all bent. So that is what the pin should look like, and obviously after quite a few hard starts and some drifting and things, it ends up bending this pin, and obviously it happens on the other side too, and you can see that these are bent, and then obviously that. So you want to take your 32mm socket, stick it on there, and then this is where your breaker bar is going to come in. And I'm just going to pop that on, and then we want to obviously loosen the nut. You want to be careful you don't hit the actual car with it or anything like that. And this is where you want to pull the old washer out. I did see someone do this with a magnet, so if you've got a magnet it'll probably be a lot easier, but unfortunately I don't have that kind of privilege. So let's see if we can just dig this out. Okay, so this is our old bolt setup with our old cap on there, and this is our new bolt. And obviously, as you can see, it's a lot smaller. So we're just going to use some washers to prop that up. And these aren't just any washers, by the way. These are spring washers, specifically for the axle. You'll need another 3, so you'll need another 2 of these, as one does come off of the old bolt. But whilst I'm here, I'm doing this already, I've just gone ahead and purchased some 3 brand new ones, because they're just easier whilst you're here to change, and then that brings it up to the correct height that we need. now you want to just put a little bit of copper grease in these splines behind here, just to keep it. I've seen a lot of people, well, I've seen other people on YouTube do it. I've also seen them do, they've managed to push this axle out and get the splines from behind, but mine seems a little bit stuck. I'm not sure if that's because of the way the chassis is a bit twisted at the moment, because we're on a slight hill, so I'm not sure if that's why it's not coming out, but I can't get to behind it, so I'm just going to put a bit of grease at the front here, or some anti-seize, anything like that, but that's where the paintbrush comes in handy. Just get it all over those splines on the inside. Okay, so we're just going to take our 3 washers, place them there, and we're going to take our new castle nut and just pop that on there. Just tighten that by hand. Okay, so now we just want to torque this bolt down to 100 Newton meters, which I believe is about 74 foot-pounds. But we shall do that now. There we go. If the line doesn't line up, you can just tighten it a little bit more. And what I mean by that is obviously you want these little crowns to, on the castle nut, you want them to be lining up with the hole, so you can put your retaining pin in there. So we'll just tighten this a little bit more. I'm going to use the breaker bar so I don't break the torque wrench, but
let's do that a little bit more. Tiny bit more.
there we go, and that looks about right. Lining up all nice. Alright, so now we're going to put the retaining pin in. Just looking at the old pin, this actually came in like this. It doesn't actually fit anymore, but this came in like this and it was bent down. Looking at this new pin and this castle nut, I remember someone saying on YouTube that it didn't fit too well, and they're not wrong. It does look a little bit snug, but rather than going sideways, I think I'm going to go this way. That then keeps that lock quite snug, and then I'm going to bend this in. So we're at the stage now where we're trying to put these pins in, and as you can see we've gone through quite a few of these trying to figure out how to get these in. It almost seems like you need another washer on this bolt to bring it a bit further out so that this slots in better, but we're just watching another YouTube video on someone doing this, and they actually bend the pin the other way to what Nissan had it bent as. So I think the best way to put this in is to probably come in like this with the shorter end facing inwards, push it in like that, and then we're just going to bend this towards us, which should hopefully be a bit easier than before. So I'll take the needle nose, twist this. These are incredibly strong and hard to bend, so if you've got a second pair of hands, definitely get them involved. So just pull that back like that. Tell you what, I'll try and see if I can get that a bit more. As we were saying before, we're having a problem with this this split pin coming through and it not being big enough or whatever. These are the official Nissan retaining pins, and they're very strong, they're very hard. But what we've sort of worked out here is, so we've come in like this, the smaller side facing down. We've then come back, bent on ourselves, and that's what's here. And then obviously this, the smaller bit is now into the spokes, so that is going to stop that from spinning. What we did do is push, just use the hammer and the needle nose just to push that the smaller retaining bit, the smaller bit of the retaining pin even, just into that gap, just to avoid it from making any noise, because it was wiggling about a bit, whereas now it's nice and solid. So just a little tip if you are doing this. So that is how you fix the rear axle click on a Nissan 370Z. It's not too hard. I'd say the hardest part of that was bending the pins. So give me a thumbs up and a subscribe and a like and whatever else, and I'll see you in the next one. You okay? It's okay, it just got my nose.